one. Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 393 for December 2nd, 2020. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the good fortune to be your leader into this week's journey into what? Into what, I wonder? Oh, sustainable transportation and no, that's not it. Advanced tech energy, the other way around.
Transportation.
Energy and transportation. We're just going to leave it at that. Let me introduce our panel, and we will get this show on the road. The music maestro today and our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Kacey Green.
How's everyone doing today? It was a blustery 44 degrees today.
Did I mention that it was, I think we actually had a high of like 76 today.
Nice.
Did I mention that? Perfectly clear blue skies, nothing but sun. Yeah, I'm a dick.
Is that actual sun, Russell, on you right now, or artificial sun?
That is artificial. There's, no, it is dark outside. Yeah, there's no light. Well, and that gentleman who just spoke is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, and it's dark here too, and cold. So.
See, and no snow on the ground?
No snow lately. But, yeah.
Not yet.
A little chilly today, but not too bad.
I have to ask, Paul, what was the offending beer that?
It's the same one I had last week. I think the 60-minute IPA.
Huh.
So I opened it and it kind of made a mess.
60 minutes and counting.
Yep.
Gotcha. And last and certainly not least, my friend on the Chesterfield of Tempermans, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And I'll just state it now. I'll take any of your guys' weather over what we're having right now. So,
I'm sorry.
Snow and cold, but we would be happy with a 44 blustery, or a 50 some degrees, or certainly a 76 and sunny. We'd take that any day.
My understanding is to the north of you people still having to cut their grass.
Not north of me. Have to be pretty far north.
Yeah.
North over the top and down over the other side. Australia.
Okay, it was another Canadian then. Because somebody showed a picture of snow, and then another Canadian was like, "Well, not here. I had to cut my grass."
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Those are weather jokes, Kacey. Don't fall for those.
Yeah, it's just gullible. A meme. It's just a meme. Well, let's get started with this week's news, and we're going to go to Mr. Kacey Green for the first story of the week.
Certainly. Which one are we talking about? We're talking about our friends with the Nikola Badger. And not just the Nikola
Not
Badger.
Anymore. Oh, so I'm sorry.
Right.
Did I blow it?
You did. So the Nikola Badger is effectively canceled. They'd signed a new, they being Nikola Motors, signed a new memorandum of understanding with General Motors. GM no longer gets pretty much the whole company if they go out of business. General Motors no longer has to build the Badger. And nobody else has stepped up to build the Badger. I remember when this all started, when we first saw non-sketches of it, it happened to be that they were trying to push Tesla to build it instead of the Cybertruck. And then everything worked out that they ended up doing it with GM. And GM was actually in the original MOU, they had the original agreement, they actually had a really sweetheart deal. If Nikola failed, they win. If Nikola succeeded, they win, and they have a new customer. So what really made them start to back out was some sexual harassment allegations. And after that, that's pretty much when all this started to fall apart. And it didn't help that the Hindenburg memo came out and was exposing a lot of the alleged misdeeds of the company and the founder. So what's left is...
No. Well, it sure is convenient that Hindenburg is powered by someone's money, but we don't know who, isn't it?
Indeed.
And I'm not. That's not me defending Nikola. That's just me saying I love the way these mysterious groups pop up from time to time in our sector, in the alt transportation category, and whether it's slamming on the Prius or whatever it is, there's like all of a sudden fully formed.
Yes. Oh,
hand
Tesla's
in
doing
deliveries.
this. Prius is doing that. Oh, the Hummer, whatever, digging in the field. So all that's left in the deal for them to worry about is the supplying Ultium batteries and fuel cell stacks to the Class 8 trucks. So we'll see what becomes of that if the company survives. Today was the first day that insiders could let go of their shares, and I was busy at work all day, so I didn't check back and see how their stock did today. Did anybody happen to notice?
No.
Did not.
They were at a point in either post sales or pre sales when this MOU was announced that they actually would have short circuited circuit broke the market. If it had been open, it would have halted trading right there because the volume was too great and
They closed at
change was too great.
1832.
That sounds low. They were at what, in the 30s, right?
On November 27th, they were at 27. Yeah, they were at 30 basically most of the month.
Yeah. And there's
So-
still another tranche of people that are insiders that will be able to open up their shares, I think, in another couple weeks or a month. So we're not done.
Doesn't look good, does it?
No.
I know where there was some celebrating
Where?
at the offices of Bollinger, Lordstown, Rivian.
Rivian,
Yeah.
Tesla.
And some friends in California.
And Tesla. Yeah, they were like, okay, one dies.
Mhm.
I mean, it's sad in a way, although I have to say that if I lined up all the electric trucks,
Yeah.
Nikola was definitely at the back end of that parade, like the least likely to succeed.
Yeah, I suspect that everybody that's left will at least see a small batch. I don't know how many of them will exit the what they call the Valley of Death, but I think we're going to have probably 3 to 4 viable models in the consumer space by the time this is all done.
I guess it depends on how you define when this is all done. Are you talking 2025? It could be half a dozen trucks.
Indeed. But I mean, like when we see like who the winners are, because like you've got on the fossil side, you've got GM, Ford, and Ram, right? And then you've got some distant fourth places. So I think we'll start to see that shape up, like you said, by 2025.
It's going to be an interesting battle. Like it's going to be interesting to see who can muster the strength to remain in it. Who's going to be able to sell the actual vehicles that they make,
Right.
and what those vehicles, how they're going to stack up against each other when it comes down to real discussions of range, of utility, of build quality. How are these vehicles going to stack up and compare?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate to see that these land tags are what is successful around the world, especially in the U.S. But I'd rather it be an alt fuel or EV, something you can fuel renewably, than big honking.
It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too, right? It's
Right.
It gets to the point where
Cake.
before you were just burning a lot of fuel, and the bigger the vehicle was, the heavier it was, the more fuel you would burn. Now you're still going to burn more fuel, but it's going to be in the form of electrons, and at least it's not going to be polluting out the tailpipe that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
So
locally,
yeah, definitely you could see, depending on where that electricity is produced, there still could be some emissions attached to it, but certainly a lot less than a tank full of fuel powering one of those.
Tank full
as
of
Kacey
diesel.
mentioned, tanks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a lot easier to clean up 1 or 2 power plants than it is to clean up 200,000 trucks that would be in that same region of that power plant.
And another thing that will happen is if those trucks are on par with the ICE trucks, some of the bad things that happen right now with, say, diesel trucks, which are quite easily to modify. A lot of people modify the diesel trucks to give themselves more performance, but of course that just adds to the pollution. So some of that could be eliminated as well. You're still going to have gearheads that just want to do that for whatever reason. They will continue to do so. But at least as people start to move to these electric trucks, emissions will disappear. And
Yeah.
that's something that we can all breathe easy with.
And I think that's going to be one of the good things about it is when you've got all of these people who are more interested in the power output, that sort of thing, than the noise and the smoke. The electric platform already out of the box comes with a great deal of all of that. And then, so for the folks who want to dig into it, like we've seen with the Ghost mod and all that with the Model 3, you can get more out of it, even if the factory doesn't give you what you want. But with the focus now at Nikola on the Class 8 trucks and Tesla and a few of their competitors have actually started to ship their demos. This will help because beyond the consumers, we've got our land transportation as far as the delivery trucks. We've got the trains, we've got the ships and the airplanes. And, that will knock out a lot of it because, as we keep saying, the bean counters are gonna love this.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, for our next story, we go to a truly multi-sense experience, and we go to Paul.
Yeah, I heard this story on NPR actually early today, and I found it fascinating. I was not aware that there are 1.5 billion cows on the planet, which, according to the article, produce a lot of gas. In fact, they create more greenhouse gas emissions than planes, trains, and automobiles combined. And a significant part of that gas is methane.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are driving our hybrids and our EVs. Meanwhile, all the people eating at McDonald's are indirectly creating a lot more greenhouse gas. So
not all the people eating at the McDonald's now.
That's true. But I mean, that's one of the other reasons that a lot of people are giving up meat because of the waste product from the cows. So anyway, some smart people down in Australia realize there's a type of red seaweed that if they mixed in 1% of or an amount equal to 1% into the cattle feed, it would cut down the flatulence by 98%.
Wow.
And instead of that energy going out the rear end of the cow can use that energy to, help it grow it and absorb the energy and run around and do whatever cows do. So they might be onto something here. If they can change the dietary source of the cow's food, that will cut down in the cow's farts and make cleaner air for everybody. So you can drive a hybrid, you can feed your cows seaweed, and hopefully the planet will be a better place.
So what will this do to the price of my seaweed chips?
Well, it's a small amount, 1% of the food. But yes, they did get into the economic side of it. And it's a special red seaweed that grows in the tropical region of the country. So if you're eating green seaweed chips, you're probably going to be okay.
Cool.
But I thought it was fascinating how much gas is generated by cows. I was not aware of that until today.
I thought, Paul, you were going to propose a new catalytic converter system for the cow that would help them out.
A funnel on their ass to capture the
because of course we know that the icy vehicles are going to go away, and the people that make catalytic converters are going to need a new market.
I wonder how they get them up to temperature. You could have steak on one side and less flatulence on the other.
All those poor cows with pipes in their butts. That's so not right. That is so not right.
A new low temperature catalytic converter.
that might be a show title.
That is, according to the article, a significant amount of the global warming is coming from cows.
That's true.
Cows, pigs, chickens, but the smaller the animal you can get it, chickens and fish,
you can
help.
Cut out beef out of your diet or part of it out of your diet.
To start,
yeah, and maybe help make the planet a better place.
Man,
I understand that a lot of the methane too comes out of belches from the cow. It's not necessarily it comes out of both ends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both ends,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's simpler to say the flatulence, but when they're talking about both, so.
Cow burps and cow farts.
I got nothing. After that super serious story.
It's serious though.
It is a serious story. I don't know why I'm saying it, because it's a huge greenhouse gas contributor. So
to eliminate by 98%. I mean, it's like, what's the
With only
dairy
a 1%
products have
change, yeah.
lactate, you know, that cut down the gas. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I found a story that I wanted to talk about that is, I think it's what drives the story. The fascinating history of the Zamboni family. And when I say Zamboni, the first thing you think of is right the big, huge thing that goes around the ice rink in between hockey periods and makes the ice all smooth and perfect. A fascinating story, an absolutely fascinating story on the hustle. Talked about the Zamboni family and how they developed this and why they developed this. I didn't know that they actually developed a system for making ice rinks, artificial ice rinks, that way was like just eclipsed what was there before. And that's how they got involved in this ice thing. Now that they had ice rinks, they had to recondition the ice some way, and they didn't have a good way to do it. So one of the brilliant Zambonis built the Zamboni, the ice reconditioner. I think that's what they call it. An
resurfacer.
Resurfacer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies for that.
But they are the Kleenex of Zambonis. I mean, no matter who makes them, they have competition. Everybody calls them a Zamboni.
Forever it's going to be a Zamboni because it's a great name.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is the Zamboni was invented in Southern California, not Toronto or Montreal or some cold Canadian place.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where they deployed their ice rinks to huge crowds and much success that helped fuel and pay for the development of the resurfacer. In Los Angeles, of all places, by an Italian family, a second generation Italian. Nonetheless, it's a great story. Check the show notes and read it. There's some wonderful photographs and diagrams and whatnot. And it's just a fun little story. And
Does anyone know if there's any electric Zambonis yet or alternate fueled Zambonis?
Certainly some of them are already alternate fuel because they run on propane.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just going to say, I think they're propane, aren't they?
Yeah, because of course they're running indoors. They
Right.
and run multiple periods throughout a hockey game and resurface, every hour or so. So they have to have a cleaner running fuel because they're running indoors.
Right.
But I have not heard of an electric one as of yet.
Well, in the article they talk about Zamboni had this eye for iteration based on customer feedback. Later increased tank capacities, liquid cooled engines, and later electric power.
Look at that.
A Tesla powered Zamboni would be able to do the rink in like 45 seconds.
It melts all the ice.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
too fast melts the ice.
That's it. Well, after that, we need to talk about some serious news. So we're going to go to Mr. Mark Coughlin for This Week in Tesla.
Great segue. The Tesla had a number of different stories happen this week. We're going to center just on one this week. And that one is Elon traveling to Berlin to accept the Axel Springer Award. Now, you as I probably say, who the heck is Axel Springer and why does he have an award? Well, Axel Springer in Europe is a media outlet. They have a number of media websites, magazines. They're a media empire, and they put out an award every year and for the most, forward-looking person. And they chose Elon for this. Now, what was interesting about this particular meeting in Berlin was that they really dressed it up. They had a room that had monitors across the front, the back, the sides, all showing a starscape. So they actually simulated a launch from Earth, traveling through space, and then a landing on Mars through the entire interview. And it was like a Disney ride. It was really interesting to see all this going on. Elon got up on stage. They asked him a whole bunch of questions, and they touched on, obviously, when do you see us getting to Mars? What's the reason for getting to Mars? They talked about Tesla valuation. They touched upon how Elon got in trouble with the stock group again because of him saying the stock was too high. He got in trouble for that from the governing body. They talked about Tesla mergers. And before you say Tesla mergers, who are they merging with? It was just basically clickbait. All they basically said was, if a company had felt that it would be good to merge with Tesla, would Tesla entertain the idea? And of course they would. They would talk about it. Not like they're going, after hostile takeovers or anything, but mergers, something that Elon said, of course we would listen if there was something that made sense to us. But of course, the clickbait articles that came out this morning were all talking mergers and other companies merging with Tesla. And it's like, that's all just speculation. It wasn't really that big in the conversation. They touched upon full self-driving beta. One of the interesting facts that Elon had indicated, the presenter asked him, when do you think Tesla will be introducing full level 5 autonomous driving to its customers? And Elon had indicated that will happen next year for some customers based on the regulations that are in their local areas. Some states are going to allow full self-driving, some aren't, but he said some will, and he believes, he's fully confident that that will be released to Tesla owners in 2021. So that, of course, means December 31st of 2021 at the last hour, but it's still within 2021. So it's coming faster than I predicted. We'll have to see if it actually hits.
If he's late by a minute, then it's going to land on my
Do we want to put some bets down?
already did.
Who wants to put some bets down?
We already did.
Nobody.
Nobody does. We know Tesla time. It's certainly been getting better, but that's a big ask. It's a big ask.
I believe I said soon. Mark said middle distance, and Patrick said.
I was Patrick was middle distance.
Oh, Patrick was middle distance. You were
yeah. I was like, I don't know, but it's again. He says that it's going to be 2021 released to some Tesla customers based on regulations in the area that they live. So we will have to see. I understand that Florida is open to it now.
I'm not moving back to Florida again.
Yeah, Florida's open to a lot of things right now. Yeah.
Well, they have
So
a
there
lot
is
of
some
shitty
states
drivers
that
already. So
there is some states that have it on their books already. So we shall see. It's coming. It is coming. Another thing they talked about was Giga Berlin, and of course everyone is happy to know that when Giga Berlin opens, though, it's going to be one wild techno party apparently that's going to last all day and into the night. They talked about they said, where are you sleeping tonight, Elon? At a hotel? Or they talked about, do you like Berlin? You're going to buy a house here, and then the subject came up. Well, where are you sleeping tonight? Well, he's sleeping in a conference room at Gigafactory Berlin. So he's got to try out every conference room and every factory he owns. So that's just par for the course.
He has a $65 million jet. And I'm supposed to believe that he's sleeping in a conference room in a not completed factory.
That's what you're supposed to believe, because of course the jet's being rented out at night to another organization. He can't use the jet.
Uber jets.
Yeah. They're doing grub.
They also talked about in-depth AI. They talked about threats. They talked about where it could lead, how it could be less threatening to the human race as a whole. Interesting talk on that. And then finally, one of the last questions was, what's the meaning of life? And of course, 42. Everyone knows the answer is 42. So that was the answer that was spouted out quickly. And then they got into some general discussions and things. And then, of course, the simulation ended with the landing on the planet Mars. And I have to say it was an interesting talk. There was much information that was repeated. There was a couple of new nuggets of information that were there, such as the FSD. But it was enjoyable to watch, and I have to give the Axel Group credit for making it a Disney ride. It was spectacular. They put a lot of effort into it. They had cast members dressed up in spacesuits. They pulled out all the stops on this. It was interesting just to watch for that fact. So we will certainly share that link, and if you have interest, if you've got half an hour, it's a good watch.
And that's why you need to subscribe to the Tesla Life on Twitter and watch the Tesla Life every week.
Thank you very much.
Because then you get all the deets. Here, you just get a little bit, little teasing.
Little
chunk.
snippets.
Yeah, a little snippet.
Just enough to whet your appetite.
Well, let's go to someone who's not going to give us a little snippet. He's going to give us all of the details behind this exciting person. Kacey Green.
Paul has a phrase for people like this person. I believe he calls them smart dumbasses. So
Smart dumbasses.
Smart dumbasses. Too smart for their own good.
Yeah.
This gentleman, Mr. Kosh here, he was already in trouble with the law. He got pulled over for reckless driving or some other moving violation, and the cops basically took his license. They said, you have to go take another driving test if you want to keep it by XYZ date. He signed up to take his driving test, and he's going down the route, and he turns on the frickin' autopilot.
During a driving test.
During a driving test. The instructor is apparently not too Tesla savvy. He heard the tone repeatedly, and he saw the little blue symbol. He says, nothing. He says absolutely nothing. Lets the guy complete the test all the way through. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Russell?
Russell's just going to shake his head.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
So they finished the driving test, and the instructor tells him to report to the office rather than, normally they sit you down, they call you up later, and you're good to go, right? No, he gets called into an office. So this is when how's the movie said?
So the
this is when he knows
principal's
he done
office?
fucked up.
Exactly.
And well, the instructor says, I'm going to fail you, and I need to know what was that tone and what was that blue symbol that kept going on and off. And the guy explains it was first the guy guesses, was it some sort of lane centering or cruise controls feature? Because you can't even use regular cruise control on a driving test. Why would you think that you could use a semi-autonomous car on the driving test? Anyway, so the instructor had figured it out. The guy admits, Mr. Kosh admits that he was essentially cheating, and so he's got 15 days to retake the test. 15 days before he can retake the test, and if he doesn't pass, then they will take his license for real, gone. And he thought that he could drive the car home. I don't know why he thought he could drive the car home.
He doesn't have a license.
Same reason
Right.
he thought he could engage FSD during a test.
And did they say you have to come back in a 2005 Corolla to do the test?
No, I think it's really as simple as just not turning on disallowed features during the test. It's like, if you're taking a closed book test, you don't open the book and start,
Yeah.
or if it's a math test, so there's no calculator, you don't whip out the calculator.
I swear that Tesla said they were only giving FSD to responsible drivers. I swear Tesla said that.
This was autopilot, not
It was
FSD,
just
right?
autopilot,
Oh.
maybe not even like the full autopilot. It might have just been the free one.
I got nothing.
I don't know
I'm
where
guessing that he's
some
not gonna be on the
people's
list.
heads are,
Yeah.
but I think they should have confiscated his car at that point. Like guy doesn't deserve not only a license, he doesn't deserve to have the car. It's just stupid.
Yeah. I wonder if they towed it or if he had to call somebody to pick it up.
Probably would have let him take
I
a
don't
friend
know.
drive it who was legal to drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a dumbass.
I mean,
Deserves it.
I
yeah,
got
absolutely.
nothing.
So this is somebody who actually needs full self-drive. He already obviously can't drive. So, full self-drive, boop, boop. And then he never has to worry about passing a driving test because the car has already done it. But he's going to have to wait, according to Elon, till the end of next year. According to me, probably the middle of the year after. And according to Mark, much, much later. But even when the car does get approval, they aren't going to be taking the liability. So you still need the license that, when the car screws up and you didn't take over, you're at fault.
Yeah.
He's going to be walking everywhere for a while.
Subject to regulatory approval.
Or he gets to the end of his county and the car stops driving. Yeah, your turn. Oh, you don't have a license. Let's just sit here.
Well, speaking of stupid, my home, San Diego, California. The stupid runs strong here. Very, very strong. For some reason, and I have to admit, I wasn't paying attention locally. I don't know how this happened, but San Diego decided to deploy an automated camera system. And this automated camera system was connected to the streetlights. Well, as it turns out, the city council wasn't so happy about it. The mayor, Kevin Falconer, wasn't very happy about it and ordered the staff to cut off access to the network. Problem is, if they turn off the security cameras, the streetlights don't come on. In a brilliant, genius design, the security cameras power the streetlights or the gateway, I guess. So if the security cameras aren't on, the streetlights don't come on. Yeah, it doesn't really get any better from here. The company, who apparently the city of San Diego owed about $750,000 to, said, "Hey, you got to pay your bill." So they apparently paid their bill, and they said, "Well, now we want more money if you want us to design a switch to turn the cameras off, because we never designed that." Do you get where I'm going with this? Maybe don't install surveillance cameras on all your streetlights. Okay. That's the lesson here. Let me cut to the chase. So they've managed to kill the network, turn off the network. The cameras are still there, are still powered and still recording, but allegedly no one has access to the video because they're not networked anymore. And yeah, so now we have these fun cameras floating above the streets, recording everything, but going nowhere.
So in the security portion of what I do on my day-to-day stuff, we don't leave uncontrolled computers around because somebody could come in and take control of the computers.
Oh, the Russians are already in there.
So
and
Did
I
the
wonder
company
what
that
did
designed
the
the
city
switch-
of San Diego spend, like $10 million or something deploying it?
I don't know what they spent. That's a very good question.
So did the company that designed the logic to turn the lights on and off, is it the same company that did the security cameras, or are they
Yes.
separate? Okay,
No,
that
it's
makes a little more sense.
yeah. So it's the whole end of the street light is like sort of one unit. There's a camera bulge, and then there's the street light. And
Okay.
again,
I
apparently
see.
the power flows through the security camera. And
Because why would you turn on the light in the daytime? And if you've got an optical sensor already, why pay for another optical sensor to turn it on and off? I mean, I can see the design, but
no, it's just
And you mean these are street lights, not traffic lights?
street
Right.
lights. Yes,
Yeah.
we're talking about
The lamp.
street light.
Illumination.
Illumination. Yes, not control, but yeah.
that would have been more funny if the if the stoplights were
Traffic
controlled by the
signals.
street lights, and you couldn't turn off the street lights because the traffic lights would also turn off.
That's next year's plan.
That's
Casey.
version
Yeah.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's another city in another state that is implementing that brilliant program right now.
It's kind of interesting you mentioned that, because in our city, they started to replace all the street lights it's probably 3 years ago. with LED streetlights, and each of them have this little bulb on the top part of the streetlight. And apparently this little bulbous thing that sits on top of the streetlight can be hooked up to Wi-Fi and spread Wi-Fi throughout a community.
Oh,
It could be good.
And
That's very cool.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Our city hasn't done that, but apparently the system is capable of doing that. So
That's
you buy the hardware,
$5,000 per street
and you
lamp
can roll.
upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. You roll it out when you want to. But I wonder if it's the same company. I'll have to look into that.
Ubiquia is the name of the company, which is somehow oddly appropriate and as it is nonsensical. Another sort of related story. I just was blown away, and a lot of you have probably seen this footage of Romain Grosjean's crash at an F1 race in Bahrain. If you haven't, you're about to. But I want to, because this footage is a little chopped up. We talk a lot about safety and a lot about where that comes from and stuff. And this to me is staggering. He crashes this F1 car into a barrier. It tears the car in half. It immediately bursts into flame. For 30 seconds, he's in this ball of flame that melts the barrier the car is in. And he gets up and walks out. I burned myself on. I burned myself in the stove. I have to sit down for 5 minutes. Okay, so let's actually we can go to this.
I mean, modern race cars like have the suits are fireproof. We'll watch it.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, Paul. I'm not going to run the audio.
No, it's like massive safety stuff in these cars.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we want to see in our cars, right? We saw NASCAR implementing safety measures when Dale Earnhardt died. All of a sudden, there's some new things. Hey, you hit the wall at 185 miles an hour, maybe you need something more than a helmet. So it's the survivability of an. I mean, this is obviously an edge case, right? You're going over 180 miles an hour. You're in a car filled with Formula One fuel. You hit a steel barrier. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Bad things are going to happen. Yeah.
That's not going to happen to your Camry. Okay. But if we can take some of this stuff and learn from it and use it, then maybe grandma can survive the Camry accident. We'd like Granny to survive.
If only they could also help it so that pedestrians can survive car accidents.
I'm sorry?
If only they can make it so that pedestrians can help survive car crashes.
Yeah. And cyclists.
And cyclists, yes.
Everybody not in a car. I mean, well, and that is an entire show, at least, maybe a series of shows. And certainly a lot of that has to do with vehicle design, right? I mean, the size of the vehicle.
Recently, I saw a commercial for an automaker, and I won't pick out the particular one, but some of the stuff is coming, like people with dooring, where they door a cyclist. They come to a stop, they open their door and not know that a cyclist is passing close by, and of course, the cyclist slams into the door. There now are electronic systems that alert the driver that when they put the car in park and go to open the door, it actually prevents them from opening the door because there is a sensor that says there's something close to you. Gives them a beep, they have to look, and then they can open the door. So some of that stuff is coming. And we have seen changes and safety features added. We just need more of it.
I've even seen Hondas going back a few years, when you do a right turn, the reverse camera turns into a side camera. So if there's a cyclist on the right side as you're doing a right turn, you're not going to take out the cyclist. And just a bit of software to do that. I mean, they're using the same backup camera, the same video screen. They're just saying, hey, when you do a right turn, we're going to make sure there's no cyclist in your blind spot. And that's a cool feature.
Absolutely.
And until the technology is there, don't forget to practice the Dutch reach, where you reach over to open your door with the other hand. and as you reach, gives you more time to check the mirror and make sure there's nobody over there. It's called the Dutch Reach. When I first heard it, I didn't know what I was hearing.
Because a lot of cyclists in the Netherlands.
Yes. But what prompted that comment for me was somebody had recently posted a photo of a 1980s full-size Toyota truck and a today's full-size Toyota truck. And it's not just Toyota that's done this. Everybody's used to have a little Matchbox size truck, and now they have the same tow rating and everything, and it's a house.
It looks like it's twice as large.
Yeah,
The new one. It's amazing how big it is. Look at our entire fleet. I mean, we've talked about this. We've certainly mentioned this in lots of other stories, that just everything's getting, all the cars are blowing up solely because everybody wants a bigger car. Gas is still cheap, so everybody wants something a little bit bigger. Even small cars are getting bigger.
Yeah, if you compare the Civic to the original CVCC car. Oof.
Oh yeah, that's a big difference.
Squeeze your head.
Yeah.
The roller skate. Yeah, I mean, it's and a lot of that has just been the function of something that, you know what, and I guess I was going to do this mea culpa at some point, but for a long time on this show, our mantra was gas never gets cheaper. And the last 5 years has pretty much stuffed that thing that I said so glibly many times right up my butt, because gas is cheap and it's still cheap. And this isn't a market thing. This is people controlling the market to make these prices cheap, to externalize the costs and keep fuel cheap. Nonetheless, there it is. Gas is cheap. And, you know, all those people that had put their Hummers in the garage because they couldn't afford to drive them, man, they're out in the streets every day now going, woohoo, $2 gas. Yeah.
I remember what the final straw as I was buying my Prius was the gas price was doing this. And I want to say it was $4 or $5 a gallon that it hit in Florida. And I was like, all right, yeah, I made the right choice. 2 weeks later, it's never been that high ever again.
2 weeks. Oh man.
Yeah.
But I have to say that look at the sales of cars through the pandemic this year. They've dropped off. But sales of plugins are equal or higher than they were last year. So as these changes hit us with COVID, a lot of people have made the choice that they're switching at that point, and they're getting off the gas train. But you're right, gas has been cheap for some time now, and that allows some people not to have the question in their head as to what to do next. They just remain with what they know. But there are others that search, and that's made the transition easier based on the, I guess, forward march of EVs, and more and more people have them, more and more people talking about it, like this show and others, where that information is spread, and it becomes an asset to a person that wants to make a change. There are ways to do it, and they're not as painful as one might have thought without doing the research.
Well, I think the writing's on the wall.
Oh yeah.
You know, the average consumer is being more exposed to EVs, and Tesla's certainly helped with that. I read an article recently that AAA did a study, and they extrapolated that 50 million people in America, which is a good chunk of the population, said their next car will be an EV. So people are already thinking about it, just like you said, Mark. That, and maybe now with the pandemic, people are at home, they're not working as much. They have time to research, to study, to watch videos, and they're coming to the conclusion, hey, this EV stuff is real, and maybe I should look into it.
Yeah, and to bring that back full circle for Editor Tony, the part of the reason for this growing automobile is it's one of the cheapest safety features you can do is just to add more mass. If there's more crumple zone, there's more weight, it's easier to pass all of the tests.
And the low center of gravity prevents rollovers.
Yeah, that will help with the EVs especially because
right.
It's all down low, thousands of pounds.
Absolutely.
But I know that's what got me to switch in 2014 was that ever increasing gasoline price. And I sat there in 2014 and said, there's got to be something better than this. I've got to look into something because I was fed up every time you turned around. Again, prices in Canada are different than the prices in the US. We're more equated to maybe a California price than we would be a national average of $2 price. But here in Canada, you know, we're paying at least $5 a gallon equivalent, and it never went down. So up here, we had a small fluctuation that went down in the middle of the crisis, and then it's back up today to over $1 a liter, which is about $3.80 a gallon.
A gallon.
So we were always paying more, and that's what got me to move in 2014 to do some research, and I switched. And man, am I ever glad I did that 6 years ago and just walked away from gasoline at that point.
And you have relatively cheap electricity in Ontario, right?
Yeah. So like
Hydro, right?
11 to 13
And
cents a
it's all
kilowatt hour. Yeah.
clean. There's no coal in Ontario, right?
Not anymore. That's been eliminated. Yeah.
Why do you hate coal? Oh,
Haven't you
always
ever heard of
hating on
clean
coal. No, I mean, I filled up the Prius
Russell,
today.
we just lost West Virginia.
Yep, there goes West Virginia. Sorry, Joe Manchin. Oh, sorry. I filled up the Prius today, $2.69 a gallon here in expensive California.
That's
You know,
cheap for California.
It's insane. It's crazy. And don't get me wrong, I love it. Like, I didn't necessarily want to give somebody $50 to fill up a tank, but I haven't put over $15 in my Prius since I moved back here. Like, just with it, just, yeah. Finally tonight, I wanted to do something that was absolutely frivolous, but nonetheless related to the show. So this is an Instagram account called The Greater Bombay. Someone named Rachel Lopez is in Mumbai, and she takes a picture of the ceiling of the taxis she's in. And look at these ceilings. Okay?
Nice.
Look at these taxis. These things are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, like the
I understand what
headliner
I'm looking at.
or
Yeah.
the inside of the car?
It's the headliners and the inside of the car, I guess. I
Oh.
just like,
Are these
I
all
l-
cars? Are they tuk-tuks or both?
I love that.
Oh yeah,
They're-
check
They're
it
both.
out.
Yeah, I just love that there's so much like expression in these taxis. Anyway, again, the link will be in the show notes. Go check it out. It's a great thing. And if you're into it, follow her on Instagram if you want to. But I hate Instagram. But I was really happy to run into this. And it was a fun few minutes to just scope out what it looks like when people get the chance to be creative and make their work vehicle theirs.
Very cool.
And that's all I got. Anybody got one more thing, or should we just go home?
I think we're done.
I think we're done too. Paul's going to get home early tonight for the first time maybe ever. Yeah. Let's do some shout outs to go home. And I'm going to start with Mr. Guzik.
Not too much. Just if you're in the Colorado region, you need an EV, you need a EV or hybrid repaired, look us up, boulderh.com and boulderhc.com.
Anything good on the lot?
I got a 16 RAV hybrid, 17 Chevy Bolt, 17 Chevy Volt. Couple neat cars right now. So yeah.
I was driving yesterday in Delmar, a Volt passed me, and then immediately behind it, a Bolt passed me. And I was like,
Right. Well,
I live
they're
in
surprisingly good cars. You know, a lot of people poo-poo Detroit, but I must say the Volt and the Bolt are awesome cars. So
I can vouch for that.
I can also vouch for that.
absolutely. As much crap as we gave Chevy about the Volt, they've delivered. They delivered two really good cars. And that's maybe the frustrating thing about seeing them not do more. But you got to give them credit for what they've done. The Volt is a fantastic car. They've canceled it, but they're going to hopefully do some other stuff. And the Bolt's a killer little car.
Yeah.
Mr. Green,
So I've got
over to you,
of,
sir.
Got a couple of fresh videos out for you. You can check them out on the channel. That's at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. There were some Tesla updates. Boom, 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 boom. And so I did a bunch of videos on those. And I finally found and got into the editing deck my Tesla towing video from over a year ago. And my intention was to put together this year's towing video with it, and I determined that they were two completely different styles. So you've got a kind of factual, here's how to tow with your Tesla, combined with a vlog of, hey, here's what happens when you tow 9 hours to a new state with your stuff. So they're going to be two separate videos, and there'll be a couple of really short, under a minute how-to videos, like how to connect the trailer hitch, stuff like that, and check them out.
KACEYGREEN at YouTube. Kacey Green. And last and not least, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
I would like to ask you, if you're watching this video, to give us a thumbs up. Not a thumbs down, a thumbs up.
Oh, no, this, not that. Yes.
Yes, Russ.
Not that.
Careful, Russell. Careful, careful.
It's a New York thumbs up, Russell.
Yeah,
The thumbs up is what we want. Also, if you hadn't subscribed already, it's free. It doesn't get any better than free. Subscribe now. Press that subscribe button. Ring the bell. Get alerts when the show happens. And we would appreciate it. It helps us get more eyes in front of the show. And that's what we're after, to spread the EV revolution to more.
I feel like I need an amen at the end of that. You know? Preach it, brother. Preach it. I love that. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Do buy his music everywhere you see it, except for CD Baby, and never, ever buy anything on CD Baby. Our thanks to Michael Manring for supporting the show. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Mark Coughlin, Kacey Green for being an incredible panel this week. Thank you so much. And of course, as always.
And we did finish it in 60 minutes.
Did you? 60 minutes or less. There you go. Is it better at the end?
No.
No, it's better at the beginning. Fair enough.
Everyone does the spill on his keyboard.
Some beers get better. Some beers don't. I get that. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for watching the show. You're the reason we do it. So please, as Mark suggested, do subscribe. It's hugely important and it helps us immensely, costs you nothing, and we appreciate it. Also, maybe share the show with your friends. Post it on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, whatever. Make a TikTok video. I don't care. Just spread the word a little bit. Spread the love, because we're here. We love you, and love us a little bit back. Thank you so much. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Uh-oh. See you next week, everybody.